Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. And in today's video we're going to be talking about chapter 1002 of One Piece. This chapter is called Four Emperors versus New Generation. Now before we get into the actual chapter, let's talk about the cover page. In this cover page we get a bit of Rob Lucci, because we don't really get to see him that much in One Piece. So we get to see a bit of Rob Lucci on a bench feeding some pigeons. I really like this cover page because it's got Hattori looking at Rob Lucci because he's feeding all the other pigeons and not him. And then if you look at some of the other pigeons, you got people with like hair and scars, and it just looks like a really fun cover page. You know, we don't get to see ones that I actually really like, and I really do like this one. You've also got Rob Lucci's hat being stolen by a pigeon as well. But yeah, I like the little bits of detail that Oda adds in, like the scars and the hair for them, because all the reader's request says is Lucci feeding pigeons in the park. But anyway, with that said, let's just get into the actual chapter. Okay, so we start off this chapter with a bit of that Zoro action. Okay, so Kaido uses demolition gust. That I think it was the same thing that cut off Kiku's arm straight away, you know, when the scabbards fought Kaido, and he uses that straight away. Law sees it and absolutely goes, nah, I'm not dealing with that, just teleports away. Kid's robot thing gets messed up by it, and then he doesn't really care just because it's scrapped to begin with. And then Zoro absolutely just goes, Jaw, it's only a bit of wind, and then just slices it. The same thing that cut Kiku's arm off, he just slices it without any trouble. All he does is just move his arm, really. He doesn't even put any force into it. And then the look that Zoro gives afterwards, bro, it just puts fear into anyone looking at him. And then we get a bit of the Luffy action where he uses Kong rifle and absolutely just punches Kaido right in the jaw and then makes him fly backwards because of how hard he hit him. And then Kid comes along, grabs his neck and then slams him down. And then we get a bit of lore action, and this is a bit of lore action that we really like, because in the last chapter, I think it was when they were first fighting, he threw rocks on Kaido, and I was thinking Law can do all of these really cool abilities, but then he chooses to throw rocks at Kaido even though they won't do anything. But now he actually uses the Gamma knife, the same one that managed to like really badly damaged Doflamingo because he's basically just messed up all of his insides. He finally uses it on Kaido, and that's what I wanted to see from the beginning. Law's finally starting to turn into the character that I wanted him to in this fight, rather than just trying to like use rocks and stuff like that, because that's basically useless against Kaido. But yeah, I really like this just because it's like a nice bit of like the three-way fight. We get to see like three members of the worst generation versus all four members, because we haven't seen Zoro. Well, Zoro didn't really hurt Kaido, did he? Just swung away the breath. But for now, we're seeing three hurt Kaido in this chapter. But it doesn't really do that much damage to Kaido because Kaido is just an absolute animal and he just tanks it all, and he basically just brushes it off. Now we get to see something really cool, because we haven't really seen that much of Killer, and now we're starting to get to see quite a bit more, because before this, the only time that we got to see Killer was in Sabadi Archipelago, where he basically done nothing, and then when he fought Zoro, where he got destroyed by Zoro. So we didn't get to see him that much. And yeah, so we get to see this new move by Killer with this little scythe thing. I don't know what to call them, okay? They're like the little scythe blade things that spin around, and we get to see this really cool thing where like they seem to like expand and like shoot straight through Kaido. I don't know if that's like actually expanding and actually damaging him, or it just maybe feels like that or something, because it does seem like a really cool ability. I've never seen like anything like that in this series, and it looks like it could do a lot of damage, especially if that's actually cutting through Kaido and then just destroying him like that. It does seem to put like a lot of pain into Kaido, because his face afterwards is just like him seeing pain. But yeah, Big Mom then, because it is two emperors versus them, Big Mom decides to step in and then just destroy Killer, hits him with a bit of lightning. And I really like this because then it brings like, it kind of reminds me of Eneru back in Skypiea, because I really loved Eneru. I thought he was an amazing character, and I thought he had an amazing devil fruit, because lightning is such a cool thing to like use in like anime and stuff like that. So yeah, we get to see that, and Killer absolutely gets destroyed, struck by lightning, and it probably might be stronger than Eneru's lightning, because we saw how damaging Big Mum's lightning was when Nami used it against Big Mum, even though that it didn't do any damage to Big Mum because it's Big Mum. But we got to see how much damage it can do, and especially against someone normal like Killer, it's probably done a lot of damage to him. But then we get to see an amazing move that I always loved. I've always loved this move ever since we first saw it against Doflamingo, because the way that Luffy showed it off against Doflamingo was so sick. The Rhino Schneider, where he just like, when he kicked Doflamingo in the side of the head, I love that. And he uses it basically in the same way as he did with Doflamingo, where he just kicks him in the side of the head. And then Kaido's gearing up for a blast breath. And then this is another reason why I think the law is going to be changing throughout the fight, because he's not going to be like a brawler like Luffy, Kid, Zoro or someone like that. He's going to be the person to assist them. But Law does send Zoro up into where Luffy is so that he can protect Luffy from the blast breath that Kaido is about to use on him. Law obviously doesn't like being used like that because he just says, I'm not your personal servant. But I think this is going to be the best way for Law to be utilized during the fight. But Zoro, with all of his amazingness, just cuts the blast breath, the same one that destroyed the top of the mountain. He just cuts that in half and then saves Luffy with it. And then Zoro gears up for the one sword style with his Enma. I can't think of any other time that Zoro used one sword style that wasn't with the Wado Ichimonji. Every other time has been with that, and this time it's with Enma. If you can tell me when he's used it without the Wado, because I think there's a couple of times, but I kind of vaguely remember him using it, but I can't remember when it was. So if you tell me when you think he used it, I'll go and have a look in the chapters and then I'll see if he did use it or not. But yeah, he uses his one sword style of Enma, puts like a lot of his haki into it, and then it even is so much haki in it that Big Mom even shouts to Kaido, look out Kaido. So if it did hit Kaido, it's probably going to have done a lot of damage to Kaido. And the way that I know that it would have done a lot of damage to Kaido is because it cuts off one of the giant horns off of Onigashima where Kaido's like base is. And obviously we've seen the inside of it, so we know how actually massive it is inside of there. It's like 5 or 6 stories tall. Kaido can fit in it. It's like, it's just so massive. It's probably like, one of the horns is probably like the size of a mountain probably. It's probably like him cutting Pika in half, but with one sword style and not with any momentum or anything. It's just going bop, slice. So yeah, it probably would have cut Kaido in half maybe. Zoro does end up missing, not because Kaido dodged out of the way. It doesn't look like Kaido dodged out of the way. It looks like he was really shocked because he felt the presence of Odin in the sword, and it's just like Zoro couldn't really control the power of it, and so he like missed it like that. I could be wrong with it, but that's the kind of like thing that I got from it, because he goes from what's that, and then it's basically like a simultaneous, like you see his eye and then he fires it off, and he's like, how does that katana bear the presence of Odin within it? Now, I think that's a really good line that I think will get overlooked quite a bit, because it's like it's got Odin's presence inside of it, and then it's not just using Zoro's haki. I think it could be using, or it could have like remnants of Odin's haki in it. So that Zoro could get the last hit on Kaido and kill him, because it's like Odin's presence finishing Kaido off like he should have done years and years ago. And then obviously you get the Big Mom saying, we've underestimated them, that I absolutely love as well, because you gotta love Big Mom underestimating people, don't you? Just because I don't really like Big Mom that much, to be fair. But then after Zoro misses, he then gets struck by light. I think it's lightning, okay? It could be the blast breath, but I do think it's lightning, because I think it's going like a little flashback to when Big Mom then, when Eneru hit Zoro with lightning. Do you remember on Skypiea when he hit Zoro with lightning? I think he hit him twice with lightning, so this shouldn't kill him. But then Luffy also gets hit by the lightning, and obviously because Luffy is made out of rubber, it doesn't affect him the same way that it didn't affect him when Eneru hit him. And now in this bit, it would have been amazing to see Big Mom pull the Eneru face like Eneru did when he found out that Luffy couldn't get affected by lightning, but she just doesn't. She does pull a really shocked face, but it doesn't really, it's just like shocked face. It's not really like the, oh no, what am I going to do now? I guess that's because Big Mom does have more moves than Eneru did. But it would have been nice to see like a little throwback to when Eneru pulled that face. I think it would have been nice to see Big Mom pull that face, because it's basically like the same thing. Then you got the little one-liners like kids saying, what is she, a natural disaster and stuff like that. And I just really like those one-liners that like just show how strong they actually are, and saying that they're just like natural disasters. And then Kaido uses his blast breath on Luffy and gets a natural direct hit with him. And Luffy just tanks the whole thing. And I think that's like a little throwback to, or what I can think of, because Luffy just doesn't care if he gets hit. And we see that when he fought Don Krieg, when he just like punched Don Krieg in the face, even though that he had his spiked like metal shield in front of him. And I think it just shows that Luffy in some ways has changed since the first like arc kind of thing in the East Blue, but he hasn't changed his whole personality where he will dodge out of every single attack, or he won't tank a hit just so that he can like be closer to the enemy when he tanks it. And then to finish off the chapter, we get Luffy hitting Kaido with a King Kong Gatling. Alright, now we finished that, and I think that was a very good chapter, but I think that it's missing a lot of like the story because it's just like an action-packed chapter. There's no really progression of the story. I don't mind that because it was a very good chapter in terms of the fighting and showing off some of Big Mom's moves, showing some of Luffy's moves, and then showing how strong Zoro and Killer is. We get to see more of Killer, and I think Killer was kind of like the MVP of the A chapter, so I really like that. But yeah, I think it was overall a really good chapter. It was basically like last chapter, but it was just like on steroids from last chapter. So I think that there's nothing really to complain about if you think about it. So that is where I'm going to leave the episode. If you did enjoy the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. It will mean so much to me if you did. Tell me if you guys enjoyed the chapter too, and tell me what you think could have been improved or what could have been added to the chapter to make it even better. Like I said, the Eneru face should have been added to Big Mom. I think that would have made it, well, not better, I wouldn't say, but like it would have added like a lot more comedy to it, like it was with Eneru using it. But maybe because Big Mom has other moves that is not lightning, she doesn't really care as much as when Eneru, because Eneru's only attacks were lightning, so none of his attacks will work against Luffy. But yeah, if you did enjoy, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, it means so much to me. And I will see you in the next video. I hope everyone has a good day and a good night wherever you are, and peace.